What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay up to the Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Turn the notification bell on if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video, as well as to get notified anytime, Ravens news comes out. I'll try and put out a video on it when it's significant. If you did not know, I'll talk about it at some point this week. I don't know when, but Gus Edwards did test positive and he will miss the first 10 days of training camp, which is unfortunate. However, there's a positive spin that you can put on it. I'll talk about that later. I talked about it a bit on Twitter, so if you want to go check out my quick thoughts on it, you can see it there. But before I get into this video, if you're interested in kind of Chandler Jones stuff, I put out a video on, one of my other channels and, on the Football Diary, and we talked about where Chandler Jones will go. Spoiler alert, I talked a lot about the Ravens. So if you want to see that video, I posted a link if you go to my channel and then the community, the link is there if you want to go check it out. If not, totally fine. But in this video, I want to see everybody's comments and thoughts on what they want to see out of the defense in training camp, and especially if you're going to training camp. Let me know when you're going. Let me know what you're excited to see, anything like that. And if you do go on, let's say it's in 2 weeks, let me know. Comment on the video I post that day and say, hey, I was at training camp this day. This is what I saw. This was cool. I want to know those types of things. I unfortunately am not in the area, so I can't, go to training camp or anything like that. So, any extra information y'all give me, it's very appreciated. But what do we want to see on the defensive side of the ball? If you didn't know, I already put one out on the offensive side of the ball, so go check that out if you want to see it. But the first thing that I think we have to pay attention to is one-on-one drills with our edge rushers. How good are they going to perform? Mostly, looking at Odafe away. However, even looking at Dalen Hayes, even looking at Sack Daddy, even looking at Tyus Bowser, how are they performing with the pads on going up against offensive linemen? And that's the real key to this team, because right now we don't have a proven edge rusher in the NFL. Somebody that can consistently get to the quarterback off the edge. We don't have it. The Ravens expect to be able to have it. They really believe in Odafe Way. They believe in Dalen Hayes. They believe in Sack Daddy, and they've shown that through their, moves and things that they've done this offseason. However, it all comes down to, when the pads actually get put on, because on paper is one thing, but we will see what they're able to do. Now, unfortunately, we're probably not going to have Ronnie Stanley at the beginning part, so the offensive tackle will likely be going against. The best one would probably be Alejandro Villanueva, who is a pretty solid offensive tackle, is a good veteran, good pass blocker. He's difficult to move, difficult to push off his place. So if somebody on the Ravens is I really want to use a bull rush, very difficult to bull rush Alejandro Villanueva. You're much more likely to get around him using finesse and technique and things like that. So, a lot of things that they can learn. So paying attention to that and looking, okay, how are these guys doing will really be important to understanding, okay, what do the Ravens need? Because if the Ravens edge rushers are struggling, the Ravens are probably going to have to make some moves, whether it be Chandler Jones, whether it be Justin Houston, or somebody, on the lower end of the totem pole. Whatever it is, they may have to do something. But if not, if the players play well, the Ravens could go into preseason and see how they perform. And if they perform well in preseason, well, then we go to the regular season, see how they perform. All of a sudden they stop performing well, do what you did last year, Baltimore. Trade for an edge rusher midway through the season like they did Yannick Ngakoue. A lot of different opportunities, but it all starts at training camp when you can actually see the pads. Because I got a question in the stream, the Live with the Viewer stream, and they asked, we hear so much about Rashad Bateman. We haven't really heard a lot about Odafe Away. Should we be concerned? And I was like, no, we shouldn't be concerned, because you're not allowed to put on the pads and go one-on-one. And unfortunately, that's not a really highlight thing to watch, Odafe Away do strength drills and technique drills, whereas, watching Rashad Bateman make a one-handed catch or a jumping catch, or, he ran a good route and beat Marlon Humphrey. Those stuff, it's wow, that's a good highlight. There's no highlights for non-padded edge rushers. So overall, hopefully we get to start seeing that. The next thing to look at is, I think just looking at the two young cornerbacks, or cornerbacks that were drafted as cornerbacks but could potentially be playing safety, Brandon Stevens and Shaun Wade. I would pay a lot more attention to Brandon Stevens, because I'm very intrigued by this free safety spot. I fully believe that the Ravens do need a free safety, a ball hawk type of player. Brandon Stevens on the roster right now, of players that are like pretty likely to make the roster, he's absolutely the best free safety. Now, we can talk about our Darius Washington. If he's able to make the team, he could absolutely be the best free safety. Wow, I don't know what that was. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was weird. But overall, Brandon Stevens, looking at how he's able to perform, with the rest of the defense when they do want, 11-on-11 drills. How does he work with Chuck Clark? Does he work well with Marcus Peters? Because Marcus Peters is, unfortunately, he's a difficult cornerback to work with if you're a safety. We see Marcus Peters and Chuck Clark getting mad at each other all the time. Why? Because Marcus Peters bites, and a lot of times he makes big plays, but sometimes he bites and Chuck Clark isn't covering over top because he thinks Marcus Peters is playing over top, and like things happen, and they get friction. Well, if Brandon Stevens is able to adapt and do that type of thing, that could absolutely allow him to get significant snaps this season, and not just in the future, but like really be a key player this year. But there's also the possibility that Brandon Stevens comes in and he's very raw, which is expected. I don't expect Brandon Stevens to come out and be Ed Reed at the free safety spot. I really don't. But if he did, it would be a major benefit. But if he comes out and it's like, okay, he's definitely still learning, but he does have some ball skills. He's able to make a couple of plays. I wouldn't expect him to get a lot of playing time, a lot of snaps, but he could definitely still come in if there's an injury. Unfortunately, the Ravens secondary has dealt with injury issues in the past, whether it be Deshaun Elliott or Tavon Young or Jimmy Smith, any of those guys. The Ravens have had to deal with injuries. But then looking at Shaun Wade, how does he perform in the slot? That's all I care about. I do not care how well he plays on the outside. If somebody shows me a highlight of Shaun Wade playing outside cornerback, doesn't matter. He's not an outside cornerback. He tried to do it in college. It was horrible. That's why he was a protected first-round pick that fell to the 5th round, because he switched from slot corner to outside cornerback. I want to see how he performs in the slot. That's all I care about. If he can play well in the slot, he's going to be on this team. He's going to be a big-time impact player. Because not only does that, him playing in the slot help the defense, because, having a slot cornerback, especially if an injury were to happen to Tavon Young, which unfortunately is likely. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But, it's likely that Shaun Wade will have to play some slot cornerback. Well, if he's good at it, that's amazing, because last year we had to have Marlon Humphrey in the slot. Marlon Humphrey's a very good slot cornerback. However, I would rather have him on the outside, because that's where most of the number one wide receivers are. Unless you're playing against a couple of teams in the NFL, they put their best wide receiver on the slot, like the Chargers, for example. They use Keenan Allen in the slot. But and we'd play the Chargers this year. So, overall, it's one of those things where we want our best guys playing in their best spot. I think Marlon Humphrey's best spot is the outside. You can make a case for his best spot being in the slot cornerback spot, but it's best for the defense when Marlon plays outside. Brandon Stevens and Shaun Wade are able to come in and do their job, or do the job that they're supposed to do, that we're going to be in a really good spot. The final kind of thing is to look at the leadership. How vocal is Patrick Queen? How vocal is Malik Harrison? Because I've talked about this plenty of times. Who's going to get the mic? Because Chuck Clark's future in Baltimore is relatively uncertain. Deshaun Elliott is up for a contract extension this year. I don't think he'll get it unless we have someone to take the mic. Could it be Patrick Queen? If Patrick Queen comes in and, he's being very vocal or something like that, or, maybe Malik Harrison comes in and he's vocal, or Dalen Hayes even. And it's like, wow, this guy's really taking that leadership role. It may not happen week 1. Oh, hey, look, they have the mic. But maybe, after 8-10 weeks, it's like, you know what? This guy has been talking with everybody. Everybody likes him. He's become a team captain. He really likes everybody. He understands the scheme. He understands the defense. He's going to take over the mic. Well, that starts at practice. That doesn't start in week 3, week 4. No, honestly, it started earlier. But now we're at training camp. This is when, you get the 11-on-11s, who's talking, who's communicating, all that type of stuff you have to pay attention to. And those are the biggest things to look at. The edge rushers, the leadership and communication, and then the rookie cornerbacks. If you have anything else that you're looking forward to watching, I want to see Marlon Humphrey ball out. I want to see him, do one-on-ones with Bateman, all that type of stuff. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and I will see all of you again tomorrow.